And first of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Kai Osral. I'm with the Department of Environmental Protection and the Bureau Chief for the Bureau of Sustainability. So I'm going to share my screen just so that you could see my intro slide. Give me a second here while I do that. Okay, good. Hopefully everybody's seeing my screen.
Yes, we can.
See the great, excellent. So, first of all, this is an important webinar for those of you in the grocery stores and supermarkets and have these refrigeration systems. So I hope that you're going to gain a lot of good knowledge here today. One of my responsibilities here at the Department of Environmental Protection is the greenhouse gas monitoring and reporting rule for refrigeration facilities. And so I shepherd that program along, and hopefully those of you who have a facility in New Jersey with a refrigeration system or chiller have submitted your registration and those subsequent annual refrigerant reports. So for today's presentation, I just want to let everybody know that we're going to be recording this webinar and we'll be posting it to our website after the presentation at some point. We'll also be sending those of you who have registered this presentation slides so that you can review the material that was presented today and access the valuable resources provided by each presenter, since there'll be links in the slides that we'll be showing, and we want you to have access to those resources. And I also want to point out, even this intro slide, all the graphics that you see on there have embedded links on them. So I want you to be able to, tune into those particular different resources that are even on this page. So like, for example, in the upper left-hand corner, there's the greenhouse gas monitoring and reporting web page that you can go to. That's our department web page, where you can get more information on things like the greenhouse gas monitoring reporting rule, how to do an administrative change form, any kind of administrative things that you'll need to submit information to the department for your refrigeration systems and the record keeping that we need from you guys. And if you want to find out more information about the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection Sustainability Program, if you click on the lower left-hand link when we send you this presentation, you'll get access to our sustainability webpage. I also want to point out that we have a very good recognition program for those businesses that have done some kind of sustainable action that's measurable. So, and that's the Sustainable Business Registry. Now, that's not a program run by the Department of Environmental Protection. Instead, it's run by the New Jersey Small Business Development Centers. So if you are doing something that is benefiting the environment and benefiting your community, you can get recognized by the Sustainable Business Registry, and you can tell your story there. And if you want, you can go take a look at the other businesses that are already there, which are more than 500, and you can see what they've done to make their businesses more sustainable. So there's plenty of resources on there, and I encourage everybody to check it out later. I also want to, talk about what the main reason is for us being here today, and that is the GreenChill program that is run by EPA. And I'm happy to have Bella, Marianne, and Annie Key here from EPA's GreenChill program. And they're going to talk to you about the voluntary partnership program that works cooperatively with food retail industry to reduce refrigerant emissions and decrease their impact on the ozone layer and climate change. And I think you guys are going to get a special treat today because you'll also hear from Scott Sheasley of Weiss Markets, who will talk about his experience and insights on working with the GreenChill program. So you'll get to hear firsthand what somebody's real life experience has been in trying to maintain their refrigeration systems in the best possible way. So once again, I want to thank you for attending this webinar, and I'm going to pass it off to our friends at EPA and the GreenChill program.
Thanks very much, Kai. I'm just going to put myself on video so folks can put a name to a face. Hopefully that's helpful to reach out to us in the future. Really appreciate, Kai, the opportunity with you and your team from the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection to be able to come and speak to you and the supermarket stakeholders in New Jersey a little bit about our program and see if some of the things that we provide and the experiences of our founding partners like Weiss Markets are relevant to helping some of the supermarket partners here navigate sort of the changing regulatory landscape, innovative technologies, new refrigerants that are, and managing costs and refrigerants that are always a challenge in sort of this sector. So we really appreciate the time and the opportunity to present to you today. So as Kai mentioned, we wanted to give you a brief overview of the GreenChill program, our EPA's program working with the supermarket sector. Some of the things we've developed with our partners in GreenChill to support reducing refrigerant emissions and sort of best practices. And then one of our founding partners, Weiss Markets, will talk about their practical experiences and hopefully allow enough time for participants to be able to ask us some questions. Very briefly about me, I'm a senior advisor at EPA. I've been with the Office of Air and Radiation working on ozone protection and climate change issues in my over 30 years there. And relevant to here is I helped launch the GreenChill Partnership Program working with supermarkets back in 2007. You'll also hear today from Annie Key, who's also been with EPA for quite a long time. Before she came to the Office of Air and Radiation and worked on our partnership program, she had very relevant experience in other working with other sectors, including through EPA's Smart Way program. So I'll move into just a quick overview of sort of GreenChill. So the GreenChill's mission has really been to try to go above and beyond what's required in the regulations, working with the supermarket sector. We saw it as a huge opportunity way back when we started the program in 2007. Regulations were already controlling the refrigerants, but we thought there was more that we could do in terms of improving for both environmental as well as financial reasons, managing refrigerant emissions. And so GreenChill's mission was to create incentives and support the industry transition to zero or lower global warming potential refrigerants, zero ozone depletion refrigerants, see if we could lower charge sizes and find ways to eliminate leaks, working with leaders in this industry, and looking at innovative technologies and best environmental practices to reduce and minimize emissions and achieve sort of cost savings for the supermarkets. And we think we've done that in our, since 2007, working with our partners in GreenChill. Next slide. As you know, the regulatory landscape has changed since 2007 when we were in the throes of dealing with HCFC 22 as a primary ozone depleting refrigerant used by this industry. Moving forward, we've certainly have a broader selection of refrigerants. A milestone year was in 2010 when regulations prohibited the production and import of HCFC 22 for use in new equipment. So that really shifted the options for refrigerant choices in supermarkets, and we've seen that shift. So, today less than 10% of the installed refrigerants in supermarkets are 22, and we have much more use of other refrigerants, including 404A, 507A, and some of the newer blends. Next slide. And so I mentioned, as part of GreenChill's mission, we set up 3 sort of components of our program. One, working the corporate emissions reductions program, working with partners to set annual goals, across sort of a company's line of supermarkets. We also set up a store certification program, and this was a way to recognize not just the broad chains efforts, but individual stores across the U.S. that were achieving their refrigerant management goals. And then we also thought it was important to focus on best practices and innovative technologies. And so we have an advanced refrigeration program to try to develop information, case studies, fact sheets about best practices and the changes in technologies and refrigerants that are happening in terms of providing more information to our partners. Next slide. And so in our corporate emissions reductions program, we have food retailers are a significant part of the partners. They are required to submit annual data in terms of refrigerant that's installed and emissions, and they set ambitious refrigerant management plans and goals for that year. And what they receive from GreenChill is they receive sort of a benchmark report showing their individual achievements, but then they also receive overall achievements of the partnership. And we have an annual recognition event to recognize those that have, some demonstrated significant leadership over the past year in refrigerant management. We have 35 food retail corporate partners. We also have system manufacturers, and we have chemical producers and reclaimers as part of the partnership. Next slide. And this is our all of the GreenChill partners. Just a nice graphic showing the number of partners that have sort of led the way under the GreenChill program. As I mentioned, very early on when we were starting the GreenChill Partnership Program, getting on top of the options for refrigeration technologies and refrigerants was very important to us. And so this program this part of the GreenChill program helped to do that by developing materials, working with our partners to develop best practices guidelines, how to address leaks, what to do with retrofits, overall store maintenance, and improving those kinds of operations. We have a number of those kinds of materials on our webpage as good references and resources, and we're really excited to even update a lot of this information relevant to what's in use today and best practices to today's standards. So I encourage you to take a look and see if you have questions or any of that information is relevant to your challenges today. Next slide. We're really excited about our store certification program. It's grown significantly since we started it in 2007. Again, this recognizes individual store achievements. You don't have to be a GreenChill partner to get store certification. You just have to provide information to get your store certified. And we have stores that have certified for the first time. We have stores that have certified up to 5-10 years running. And they've met sort of the criteria for being a GreenChill certified store. There's different levels. A lot of it is based on the type of refrigerants used, the global warming potential of those refrigerants being as low as possible, as well as the charge to load ratio in terms of refrigerant use. And we have platinum, gold, and silver certification levels. We know the regulatory landscape is changing, so this is a program that we're also looking to see changes coming in the future. Next slide. Again, it's very easy. I wouldn't say it's easy, but the process is fairly straightforward to certify the store. There's a complete application process. You can find this information on our website. submit an application on your store. It can be a new design, an operational store, or in the phases of being remodeled. We review your application, and you're issued a certification and a plaque if you meet the criteria. As I said, we've seen significant growth in the store certification program, which we're really excited to see. The number of stores has grown in all the various levels, but certainly this reflects the fact that a lot of the refrigerant choices are having an impact in a significant number of stores as the program has evolved. Slide. This is our map. If you go to our website, we have a store certification map where you can see all of the various stores across the U.S. that have achieved GreenChill certification. We're very excited about that. And they have information about the actual location of the stores, the level they've achieved, how many years they've been certified. And I think this promotes the stores in your area. If you're looking for a GreenChill certified store, you're able to find it on this map. On the next page, we wanted to do a shout out for our certified stores in New Jersey. There's a number of partners here, 27 stores in all in 2024. Our GreenChill certified stores in New Jersey, covering our partners here, Aldi, ShopRite, Sprouts, Target, Weis Markets, and Whole Foods. Very proud of their achievements. They go anywhere from a first-time certification to Sprouts in Haddon Township and Target in Eatontown to 10-year certification for Weis Market store in Hillsborough. So congratulations, and I'm very proud of the achievements of the stores represented here. Next slide. And then I'll turn over to Annie very quickly so she can cover a little bit of what we've been doing with our partners in GreenChill to support their efforts to reduce refrigerant emissions. Thank you.
Thanks, Bella. A good overview. Good morning, everyone. I will go over the best practices of refrigeration, emission reduction. So you guys are in the supermarket industry, so you probably already know that the typical supermarket has maybe 3,500 pounds of refrigerant, and the Food Industry Association estimates that there are probably about the average national leak rate is about 25%. And as you know, refrigerant leaks can impact the environment, but they also represent logistical challenges and additional expenses for supermarkets. So it could be a big loss for supermarkets. And we've been working with the GreenChill partners, and they've been reporting average leak rates that are about half the industry average. And I wanted to highlight some of the relevant regulations. As you may know, the Clean Air Act regulations, also known as Section 608, requires commercial refrigeration systems containing 50 pounds or more that leak 20% to be repaired. So, but more recently, the AIM Act authorizes EPA to address HFCs. And I wanted to highlight two of the programs. One is the Technology Transition Final Rule. And that one in particular requires supermarket systems to use refrigerants with GWPs less than 150 starting in 2027. And there's also the AIM Act, that's the Proposed Emission Reduction Reclamation Rule. And there are, for supermarkets, the relevant proposed requirements include leak repair requirements for appliances containing 15 pounds or more of HFCs. So there are some leak repair requirements for that. There are some proposed requirements for the use of automatic leak detection systems and the use of reclaimed HFCs in supermarket systems. So these are all proposed rules at this point in time. For where leaks occur, as you may know, they can occur in various locations throughout the supermarket. If you look at this particular graphic, more than 70% of the leaks come from commercial refrigeration, including compressor racks, display cases, and condensers. And this is a graphic that one of a regional supermarket chain shared with us. And according to the North American Sustainable Refrigeration Councils, who work with retailers, they also confirmed that over 80% of the leaks occur in the case and fixtures, as well as the machine rooms and racks. And as you can see, that leaks if you could repair leaks and avoid leaks, you can make sure it's operating efficiently, and then it also avoids unnecessary food waste. Whereas Refed mentioned, like in 2021, 344,000 tons of food were wasted due to equipment issues. So why prioritize leak tightness during equipment installation? These are just some of the reasons. Leaks obviously can be expensive. It goes to your bottom line. Leaks impact the environment, whether it's to the ozone layer or climate change. In prioritizing leak tightness, it helps to send a clear message to your technicians, employees that you care about this issue. And then, of course, waiting for the leaks to fix the leaks at a later point, it becomes a bigger problem. And then I wanted just to highlight that we have a resource called Best Practices for Leak Tight Installations, and including the steps listed below here. And you can click on the link if you'd like to learn a little bit more about that. And leak prevention, we've heard some from our GreenChill partners, some of these best practices, such as tracing leaks, preventative maintenance, leak repairs, including response times, checking it up, following up with verification, reducing leak potential. We've also heard from our partners some of the challenges in trying to reduce leaks, and they can include finding qualified technicians to reduce the leaks, making sure they come into the store in time to check on the leaks. And I'm sure you'll hear more from our GreenChill partner, Scott, at the later in his presentation. Just wanted to mention and highlight some of our GreenChill certified stores. They are reducing emissions, and just want to highlight they're reducing about 1.53 million metric tons of CO2, and that is equivalent to 267,000 homes electricity. So it's a lot. It's great news. And then again, to their bottom line, the retailers are saving money. The GreenChill certified stores on average, save more than $2,200 each year in refrigerant replacement costs. And that over the span of the GreenChill program to 2022, that's been over $8 million saved. And just wanted to highlight again the benefits of the GreenChill partnership. Obviously, we're EPA, so it protects the environment, save money, and we hope to work with the GreenChill partners to provide analytical support and also recognize the partners that are doing well. As you can see in the picture here, it is one is the picture on the left is Scott from Weiss Markets receiving a GreenChill award last year. And the picture on the right is a GreenChill store opening in the past. So there are webinars and resources too as well. So just wanted to mention these are a few of the links that you can click on, and a few of the relevant webinars on leak prevention that you might be interested in. And if these are a couple of conferences we want to highlight, in particular, FMI's Energy and Store Development Conference will be there next week. So if you are there and attending, please drop by and say hi. And if you're interested in becoming a GreenChill partner, feel free to visit the partnership webpage to find out more, or definitely feel free to contact us as well. And this is just our information, our website, email, and Twitter. I guess it's not Twitter anymore, X. So if you need more information with that, I will transition over to Scott for his presentation to give you an overview on practical experiences. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. Annie, can you forward the slides for me, please?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay, thanks. So my name is Scott Sheasley. I am the corporate refrigeration manager for Wise Markets. I'm going to go over some more of my responsibilities later. I just wanted to say that if you're not a GreenChill partner, you're probably missing out. What I'm going to try to do is build a business case. A lot of times these programs sound great. We had a supplier one time offer us carbon-free chicken. It would cost about $6 a pound. That's not going to work for a business. Nobody's going to buy $6 a pound chicken. So this is a program that makes sense from a business standpoint. Next slide. First of all, who is Wise Markets? We're a regional retailer, over 200 stores. This is every one of those red numbers is where we have a store. So we are kind of centered around Pennsylvania as far as north and south. We have 23,000 associates. We're very proud of our growth, and right now we have 6 stores under construction. Next slide. We are very proud in the fact that we've been in business for over 100 years. We're privately owned but publicly traded. A little fun fact, we do have a milk plant where we take local dairy farm production and we homogenize, pasteurize, and sell that in our stores. We also make our own ice cream. And we also have a meat plant that we do certain things like breading and certain cuts. We also internally do all of our distribution, and we own and maintain and operate our own fleet trucking. So we are very independent that way. Next slide. This is the original location, and for over 100 years, we try to combine the value, quality, and service. So if you go to the next slide, it's a little bit different. You know, the newer stores, a little bit different look. And the next slide shows the inside of this store, and obviously a little bit different than that 100 years ago. Next. So this is why I am kind of talking today. We have 27 in-house technicians, and we have 4 contractors that provide service for refrigeration repair to our stores. I have 5 supervisors. I'm also responsible for our corporate ammonia refrigeration systems, 4 in-house technicians and 1 supervisor for that. And then we have our own internal parts and administration team for my department. Next. I'm also responsible for all the EPA reporting, PSM program for the liquid ammonia, several OSHA programs that I run. Also, we have a permanent seat on the Penn Tech Advisory Board, which is really a good regional educator for a lot of people in New Jersey. And then I do lead the GreenChill program for Wise Markets. So in 2008, Wise helped establish the GreenChill program. We were a founding member. We identified that there's value in the program. We realized that this was an opportunity to spearhead a national recognition program. You know, our name is going to get out there. And it also enhances, you know, a lot of the things that we want to do anyway: decrease maintenance downtime, reduce shrink. Shrink being, as you guys know, those downtime scenarios where you just have product loss. We can also deploy that capital elsewhere, and we can market and advertise our name, as I said before, and then, of course, reduce the environmental impact of refrigerant leaks. So this was our baseline year in 2008. We had 18.3%. That was kind of the breakdown of what refrigerant we lost, and it was $433,000 in 2008 dollars to replace all that refrigerant. Next. So this is about best practices, and we kind of need to give a little bit of context as far as timeline and how our program here at WISE evolved and how we have learned what kind of works and what's kind of better. So as I said, we joined the program in 2008. In 2012, we established a technician incentive plan where basically if we met certain metrics, all the technicians would be paid the same, like a bonus. In 2013, we changed from quarterly leak checking the stores to monthly. And in 2014 and 15, we purchased very expensive, very large capital investment, these leak detectors that the techs could go around and verify where their leaks were coming from. Next. In 2015, we changed the incentive plan to reward individuals. And now we're looking at just those 5, 6, 7, 8 stores that person has, and they're getting paid a bonus based on their results, not the whole group's results. This was to encourage, of course, change. It was to drive down leaks on a very, very intimate level with that technician. Also, in 2018, we included the supervisors, and that way they could now be kind of financially tied to their team's success. From 2018 to 2024, we have done more leak detection upgrades, trying to make it easier, going from bags to non-bags, handhelds, things that detectors that fire up very quickly and are less burdensome for the technician to use. Next. So I just wanted to outline our technician incentive plan. These are the basically payouts. So if a technician has below 10% leak rate, they get a $500 bonus. And I won't read all this, but say they're the second lowest leak rate, they'll get $1,000. If you can go to the next slide, this is actually how it pays out. If you reached our goal and you were the third lowest, you would obviously be below 10%. You'd be below the GreenChill goal and the stretch goal. So your payout would actually be cumulative. It would be $25.50. Next slide. And this is our supervisor plan. It's also cumulative. Next. And this is actually what we are going to do for next year. We're doubling it. I'll explain that a little bit later, but this will also be cumulative. So if you're the lowest leak rate, you'll be getting $1,000 for being under 10%, $1,250 plus $1,500 plus $2,500. That is a very nice payout to a technician. And we have our payouts usually in February for the results. Next. Also, the supervisors, we're doubling their payout as well. Next. So obviously, we're paying a lot of money out to drive results and reward accomplishments. But that has a cost to the bottom line. You know, we are spending probably $223,000 per year for this program. So the business case, you need to be able to justify it. If we can go to the next slide. So, you know, what have we saved by being a partner in GreenChill? Next. First of all, we need to take a look at our accomplishments? What were the results of all of this investment? Well, in 2008, as I said, we had over 18% leak rate. And if you average every 3 years to get rid of spikes, you know, this is what our real results look like. Now, obviously, there is a big drop. It kind of plateaus. We make some changes in 2015, as I said before. That drives things lower. And if you actually look, next slide, there's a problem here. Well, if you look at the red font up above, that's all refrigerants. As many of you know, some of you probably don't know, with CO2 systems, you can't recover the CO2. We still report that as an emission, and that's the reason for that going up like that. If we go to the next slide, this is just the HFC, HCFC only. If we get rid of CO2, this is what our graph looks like. We are right under 8% on average per year. I don't know what kind of leak rates that you may have. Maybe you're up in the 25. Maybe you're only at, 12. If you're not part of GreenChill, there are some things that I would encourage you to do to see if you can drive these down lower. Next. So here is where the rubber meets the road. I'm a kind of analytical guy. What are our results saving the company? So if you look at our baseline year and look at our emission rates down through 2020, I didn't want to put too many numbers on this slide because it's hard to read then. If you look through 2020, before the AIM Act, really, the number of pounds of refrigerant used, the cost that we paid for that refrigerant, and compare that to the baseline year, you can come up with the savings. And in those years before the AIM Act, we saved $2.4 million in refrigerant. Next slide. Now, I kind of did this after the AIM Act, in 2021, 22, and 23, because refrigerant prices, we all know, changed. We'll get to how they changed for us in a minute. But the total savings since we've been in the GreenChill program is, as of today's dollars, I know it's well over $4 million. So that's the bottom line savings by having these metrics and forcing the change through really encouraging people to do the right thing. Next. So this is real numbers. This is our cost of refrigerant per year, the number of dollars we spent per pound. And obviously, the AIM Act, supply chain issues, multiple things, in 2020, things changed. So now more than ever, you can't say you're trying to do everything to maintain your company's profitability if you're not looking at leaks. If you go to the next, this is an actual year to date. So it's not much different for us. It seems like refrigerant prices have kind of stabilized, but we've just spent a little bit more this year than we did last year. So our cost has gone up. And this also includes, including CO2 in these numbers. So that's why it's actually a little bit less than what it normally is. I think 404, I want to say, is like $18 or $19 a pound, but it gets weight averaged out with the CO2 cost, which is only like $3 to $4 a pound. Next. So where do we go from here? As far as Wise Markets, we're continuing to invest. We have all kinds of plans, which I will get to here in a minute. We continue to invest and save. As I said before, any store that we're going to build is going to be a CO2 store. We try to add technology where it makes sense, not just to have more data. I'm not if nobody's looking at data, then it doesn't make sense to collect it. And then have a strategy for people. We always hear those platitudes, those, catchphrases like people are your number one resource. If they truly are, then you need to invest in your people. And I know that a lot of companies on this call probably have contractors. They don't have in-house techs. That's fine. It's still that business relationship with that vendor then that substitutes for that. So you need to have that relationship and that investment. Next. So the things that I've been in maintenance now for over 30 years, since the age of 17. And when you get rid of a person or a vendor, it takes time to train the next replacement up. Also, when I took over this position, I will say that I did not take over a position that had everybody doing the right thing. I had to get rid of what we call NVA players, non-value added. They were not adding any value to my organization. You need to let those people go. How does that have an impact on GreenChill? Because it's that consistency. It's knowing that somebody is actually doing the refrigerant check and not just checking some boxes and pencil whipping, if you will, saying that they're doing it. I always think of people as like money in the bank. You're always investing into them and you hope to get that return. If they're not giving you a return, it's time to let them go. Only hire the right kind of talent, but there's a responsibility, and that is the organization needs to provide the right kind of leadership. We always want to equip our people with the right kind of tools, mentor so that they progress, train them properly, compensate them fairly, engage them so that engagement, they're not going to be likely to leave thinking nobody cares about them. Encourage, you obviously need to discipline to set standards and elevate them, as there's opportunities in the organization. I will say that right now, I don't have any vacancies. I am not trying to hire one person. I have 100% retention. That is not necessarily anything that I'm doing, but it's something that our leadership team, myself and my supervisors, are engaging these people and making sure that they are taken care of, and not just financially. It's much more than that. Next. So I do want to say that we have leak detection in stores. We do have wall-mounted units with tubes going out on the sales floor. They are pulling samples regularly. They go to an alarm system. That, it's one thing to have an alarm, but if nobody's at the store at night and nobody's actually monitoring that alarm, it really doesn't do any good. So we have a remote monitoring service that we use that dispatches people on leaks. They are taken very seriously because people are financially tied to those leaks. And we are basically partnering with our monitoring company to start developing some AI predictive maintenance, as far as when certain indicators would show that there's going to be a failure in the future. So that's kind of the business case for GreenChill and just some of the things that we've done. That's really all I have, and I really appreciate the opportunity to present today.
All right, Scott, thank you very much. I'm sure that people out there have questions, and if you want to ask a question, there's a chat button on the top of the screen. You can click on that chat button. Looks like a little bubble call out thing.
I was also going to say, Kai, hi all, my name is Gina. No questions were dropped into the chat. So also, if we want to go about this a little bit faster, if you use the raise your hand option, I can go through and unmute you, and you can actually be able to ask your question live, since there weren't any questions typed down into the chat yet.
So you've got two options. You can either click on the raise your hand there, and Gina will allow you to be be unmuted. And then, if you're a little shyer and you want to just drop your question in the chat, just click on the little chat bubble there. It'll open up a little text box in the lower right-hand corner. You could type your question in. But, I do want to, make one kind of comment to Scott, how I'm impressed by the idea that you're investing in the people that are going to find those leaks and maintain the equipment, and you've incentivized that. That's not something that we typically would think of here at the Department of Environmental Protection. We might ask for things like, what's your frequency of doing just a monitoring or something like that. But you're actually making it important for those people to actually, source these things out. They've got some incentive there, besides being, that it's important for the environment. But yeah, I think that's a great idea. Definitely from a government perspective, we wouldn't probably have thought of that. But, you guys are, go ahead.
We do have a few. I'm going to start off with Eric. I have unmuted you, Eric, if you want to go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, it's for Scott. I was just curious, what type of monitoring do you use in the stores? Not the handheld that your operators are using, but what type of systems are you using in waste stores for the in-place monitoring? Manufacturer name. Just curious.
I think it's HGD. I can get that for you. And I was going to include a picture of it, and now the name is slipping.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, if you can get back to me, I'm just curious. And I was glad the DEP put on there that they have some links for what people are doing in the industry. So, I mean, I'm not in the food industry. I'm at a university, but I jumped on because I'm always interested to hear what's going on out there in all sectors of the life with refrigerants. So, yeah, if you could, I'd be interested in that. So thank you.
Sure thing.
Great. Our next question we have from Alfredo. You have been unmuted on our end. You might just have to turn your mic on your end.
Okay, so my name is Alfredo Calvis. I am the chief engineer in the power plant at St. Joseph Hospital in Patterson. So my question is, you did not mention about R123. So we are using R123 on all our chillers. So can we join this program? Because you don't mention it at all.
So I suppose that's a question for EPA's GreenChill program.
Yeah, I was going to say, sorry if I missed some of your comment, Alfredo, but you said you work at a power plant and you use 123 refrigerant in your chiller?
Yes.
Okay.
I have two chillers that are using R123, and then I have also one that are using 134A. But all of those are refrigerant. You don't mention it on your class.
Yeah. So I mean, there are relevant regulations that would apply to the use of chillers that are coming up, and we're happy to give you, some more background information on that. But the GreenChill Partnership Program is focused on the supermarket sector and the commercial refrigeration equipment.
Okay, thank you.
Commercial. Yeah, so refrigerant use specifically in that sector. But
So,
go ahead.
I did notice in your presentation that you had some industry partners. When you say industry partners, what does that mean?
Oh, so industry partners that are that work in this sector. So equipment manufacturers that provide commercial refrigeration equipment and work with supermarkets, and the chemical producers and reclaimers that also supply the refrigerants used in those systems, or reclaim refrigerant and supply it to supermarkets.
Very good.
Okay. As of right now, there are no more hands raised in the webinar. So as of right now, it looks like we do not have any additional questions.
Well, I encourage the people that are, on the webinar, if you do come up with some questions later, you can always reach out to us and email us, and we'll try to get you the answers that you're looking for. So,
Absolutely.
we don't think that the conversation ends here. And one of the things that we really wanted to do is just introduce this GreenChill program to our grocery stores in New Jersey so that they know what's available to them. It might not be the first time you've heard of it, but we're happy to put the presentation on. And, I'm especially happy that, we had Scott here today to talk about his experience, and it's been a successful one for him. I would love to replicate that for stores throughout New Jersey. Of course, there's the environmental perspective that we're most concerned with, but we also understand that there is a business case that can be made for this. And with the cost of refrigerant going up, energy costs going up, anything you can do to make your facility more efficient is going to benefit in dollars. And that's an important outcome when you do some of these kinds of activities. It's not the only reason to do it, but it's a good one. And there are other reasons to do it too, like getting the recognition from EPA. You can get recognition through the New Jersey Small Business Development Centers. You can be a good community partner. So, please consider these things and be the most efficient business that you can be, so that you are sustainable into your own futures. If there are no more questions, then I would be happy to close this out. And like I said, please come back and you can review this webinar at any time once we post it. It'll take a couple days for us to get it up on the website, but we'll have it up on the website. You'll also have the slides at your disposal when we send them out later today. And then, you can always refer to the materials there. Thank you very much. We appreciate having you here today at our GreenChill Introduction webinar.
Back around.